Staring up at a massive, water-filled bubble forming on your living room ceiling is terrifying. It is quite literally a ticking time bomb holding back gallons of heavy, dirty water directly over your head. But the most dangerous part of a ceiling leak isn't the water you can see, it's the fact that where the water is dripping is almost never where the roof is actually leaking. Today, we are mapping the hidden path of ceiling leaks, showing you how to safely relieve the pressure before your drywall collapses, and explaining how to track the true source of the water before it destroys the structural integrity of your home. Ceiling and roof leaks manifest in highly deceptive ways, often creating panic in the middle of a severe weather event. Maybe a heavy storm just rolled through, tearing off asphalt shingles, and now you have a rapidly spreading brown stain on your bedroom ceiling. Perhaps wind-driven rain is aggressively pushing moisture through the flashing around your window frames, bubbling the drywall underneath. Or maybe there isn't a storm at all, but you go up into your attic and find the insulation completely saturated, with heavy condensation dripping directly from the underside of the roof deck. Downstairs, this emergency usually looks like water pouring through an air conditioning vent, dripping steadily from a light fixture, or pooling inside a massive blister of latex paint on your ceiling. Each of these scenarios feels chaotic, but they all share one common reality. The water has already traveled a long, destructive path through your home's framing to get to where you can see it. When water is threatening to breach your ceiling, your immediate actions must focus on pressure relief and safety. If you have a bubbling ceiling, do not wait for it to pop on its own. Wet drywall is incredibly heavy, and if it collapses in one giant piece, it can destroy your furniture, shatter your flooring, and cause serious injury. Grab a bucket, place it directly underneath, and carefully puncture the center of the paint bubble with a screwdriver to drain the water in a controlled stream. If water is dripping from a light fixture or ceiling fan, do not touch the switch. Go immediately to your main breaker panel and shut off the electricity to that room to eliminate a severe shock or fire hazard. If you are dealing with wind-driven rain around a window, use waterproof tape to seal the gaps temporarily and pack the sill with heavy towels. If you decide to look in the attic, bring a bucket to catch the drip, but strictly walk only on the wooden joists. One wrong step on wet drywall, and you will fall straight through the ceiling into the room below. To properly diagnose a ceiling leak, you must understand the physics of how water travels. Water is lazy, but it is relentless. It follows the path of least resistance, guided entirely by gravity and the internal architecture of your home. When a shingle blows off, water enters the roof deck. But it rarely drips straight down. It hits the plywood and runs down the slope of the roof. It then drips onto the top of an attic rafter, runs along the wood for 10 feet, drops onto your attic floor, saturates the insulation, and then travels along a ceiling joist or the metal casing of an AC duct until it finally finds a seam in the drywall. This means a leak showing up in your living room ceiling might actually be originating from a compromised roof vent directly above your garage, 3 rooms away. Furthermore, not all attic water comes from a hole in the roof. If your attic lacks proper ventilation, rising heat from your home collides with the freezing roof deck in the winter, causing severe condensation. It literally rains inside your attic. This is why you cannot just guess the source based on the puddle. You need to map the path backwards. Because mapping a leak is difficult, homeowners resort to dangerous or ineffective DIY tactics. Mistake number 1. The bucket and wait strategy. Placing a bucket under a ceiling drip and deciding to wait until the rainy season is over to call a roofer. While the bucket catches the visible drip, hundreds of gallons of water are actively rotting your attic framing and breeding toxic mold in your insulation out of sight. Mistake number 2. Painting over the stain. Using a stain-blocking primer like Kills to cover a brown water spot on the ceiling, assuming the leak fixed itself. Water stains do not happen by accident. If you don't trace the source, you are just masking a rotting ceiling. Mistake number 3. The dangerous DIY tarp. Trying to climb onto a wet, pitched roof in the middle of a thunderstorm with a slippery plastic tarp and a staple gun. This is a massive, life-threatening fall hazard. Emergency tarping requires proper safety harnesses and professional execution. Understanding the severity of your ceiling leak dictates your response time. Level 1 is attic condensation or damp insulation. You notice a musty smell or find damp spots in the attic during an inspection. The ceiling below is safe, but ventilation must be addressed immediately to prevent mold. Level 2 is a spreading water stain. A brown ring appears on the drywall. The drywall is still rigid, but water has successfully breached the attic barrier. Level 3 is active dripping and bubbling. Water is physically entering the living space, paint is blistering, and moisture is interacting with electrical fixtures. Immediate intervention is required to prevent a collapse. Level 4 is sagging drywall and structural compromise. The ceiling has a visible, heavy bow to it. The drywall tape is peeling at the seams, and the structural integrity has failed. Evaluate the room immediately, a catastrophic collapse is imminent. The cost of a ceiling leak scales violently based on how quickly you trace the source. If you catch a missing shingle early, replace it, and dry a small patch of attic insulation, your cost might be a few $100s. But if you ignore a spreading stain or let a ceiling bubble grow until the drywall catastrophically fails, the financial consequences are staggering. You are no longer just paying for a roof repair. You are paying to remove heavy, mold-infested drywall, replace the saturated insulation, rebuild the ceiling framing, replace the custom hardwood floors that were crushed by the falling debris, and buy new furniture. A minor roof leak that is ignored quickly cascades into a $10,000 to $20,000 interior restoration nightmare. This is why resolving a ceiling leak requires a synchronized, professional response. You don't just need someone to slap a shingle on the roof, you need experts who trace the water's exact path. When independent restoration professionals arrive, they use advanced thermal imaging cameras to track the moisture trail backward through your ceiling without having to blindly tear down your drywall. They safely navigate your attic to identify the exact origin point, whether it's a failed flashing, a roof breach, or a ventilation issue. They execute safe, heavy-duty emergency tarping on the exterior to stop the intrusion and then deploy high-velocity structural drying equipment to save your ceiling joists and prevent mold from taking over your home. If your ceiling is bubbling, if water is dripping from a light fixture, or if a brown stain is spreading across your drywall, the water has already won the first battle. Do not wait for the ceiling to collapse on your floor. Relieve the pressure safely, stay off the roof, and get a professional diagnosis right now. Call the number on your screen, or click the link in the description below to request a free local estimate at Emergency Damage Pros in under 60 seconds. We will instantly connect you with vetted, independent restoration experts in your exact zip code who can trace the hidden leak, secure your roof, and save your interior before the damage becomes irreversible. Act fast and protect your home today.